Hi Algebra 2 class. I just got done grading your quizzes and I wasn't really happy with the scores. So I thought I would do this video, show you how to do these problems, and then possibly you might see this quiz again. So pay attention and see if you can find where you might have made some mistakes. So the first one says use elimination to solve. Some of you decided you didn't want to use elimination and you used substitution. If it says use elimination, guess what? You have to use elimination or you get the problem wrong. So we're going to use elimination. Elimination is where you multiply one or both equations by a number so that when you add the two equations together, one of the variables is eliminated. So we're going to eliminate the n sub n's. And to do that, when we add these together for them to add out, if I make this a negative 5 n sub n and add it to positive 5 n sub n, we'll eliminate the n sub n's. But I can't just multiply this one by a negative 5. I have to multiply the entire equation by a negative 5 so that the equation stays balanced. So if we do that, we get negative 5 n sub n minus 10, where did I get that from? Minus 5, and you know these are coin problems, so it would be number of dimes, equals, and if I take that, I would get negative 750. We don't have to do anything to this equation because right away we'll be able to eliminate the n sub n's by just multiplying one equation. Alright, and we can just add these guys up. There we go. We eliminated a variable, and we get 5 n sub d, number of dimes, equals negative 300. I might have copied this problem wrong because we usually don't have negative number of coins. So we get number of dimes equals negative 60, which is kind of weird. Then we have to go back and get the number of nickels. So we'd say the number of nickels minus 60 dimes equals 150. Add 60 to both sides. Number of nickels equals 210. You can always slow the video down. Well, you really can't slow it down, but you can go back and watch this again if I went too fast. I don't want to make this video last all night. I'm doing it Wednesday night, Tuesday night. Okay, equation of a line through 2 points. Some of you plotted the points, counted the slope, and looked at the graph to find the y-intercept. That works fine if you have graph paper. And what if you would have got something like this? Your line went through, here's your 1, here's your 2. What if your line would have went through like that? How could you possibly tell what your y-intercept is or count your slope? So graphing is not the best way to do this, and if you do this again on the next quiz, I'm not going to be able to give you any points for it. You cannot graph this to find the equation of a line. Just get rid of that ugly drawing. So how do you do it? Well, you have 2 points, and you need 2 things in order to write an equation of a line. The equation of a line is, this is in slope-intercept form, it's y equals mx plus b. So in order to write an equation, you need to find the m and you need to find the b. With 2 points, you can find the slope. Remember the slope formula? It's slope, which they give you a letter m for slope. We never do understand that, but it must be another language for slope or something. So it's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's the change in the y, which would be change going up, the change rising, over the change running. Change is always, they always use negative signs for change. Like if I say, what's the change from 3 to 6? You would say 6 minus 3 is 3. The change is 3. So we just start plugging in. This point is our first point, so we call it x1, y1. x2, y2. The x's and the y's stand for points on the line, and there's an infinite number of points on a line. So these are 2 points, but they could have given us infinite number of points. We need 2 points, though, to determine a slope. So we subtract our y-coordinates, so we get negative 2 minus 5 over the change in our x-coordinates, or the change running. if you're going to do y2 minus y1, make sure you do x2 minus x1. So here's the tricky part. 4 minus, and notice it's a negative 3. 4 minus a negative 3. So in the numerator, you're going to get negative 7. In the denominator, 4 minus a minus is the same as 4 plus 3. So we get negative 1. So now we have a slope, and we have points. Now points are always our x and y's. What we don't have is our b's. So all we have to do is take a point, this would be our x, and we put it in there. And we take our y, and we put it in there. You could have used either one of these points. And then we take our slope, and we put it in there. And the only thing we don't know is b. So let's try this out. So y is 5. The slope is negative 1. Our x is negative 3. And, as I said, we don't know our b. So we get 5 equals 3 plus b. b, if I subtract 3 from both sides, I get b equals 2. Put it back into the equation. Remember equations, we leave the x, y in because that stands for the infinite number of points on that line. So we get y equals m, which is negative 1, x plus 2. And that is the equation of a line. Some of you who plotted it, you have your line going down this way. That's a negative slope. You had a positive 1 there. So make sure if you redo this quiz that you use this method to do it, not the graphing method. Okay, this little bugger here was a tough one. Multiply. All we're going to do is we're going to take x squared times all these guys, and then we're going to take the negative 2 times all of those and add like terms. So here we go. You have to be really careful with these. So x squared times x to the third is x to the fifth. When you multiply, you add exponents. X squared times negative 2x squared would be negative 2x to the fourth. X squared times negative 2x would be negative 2x to the third. And x squared times 4 would be plus 4x squared. Now we take and we multiply the negative 2 times everybody. True. So negative 2 times a positive 3x squared would be negative 2x cubed, Negative 2 times a negative would be positive 4x squared. Negative 2 times a negative would be another positive 4x this time. Negative 2 times a positive would be negative 8. Okay, can't leave it like this. We have to add like terms. So, any other x-fifths down the line? Nope. He gets to be by himself. Any other x to the fourth? Like terms have the same variable, the same exponent. So there's no other x to the fourth. So he gets to go. Cross those out. Now we have negative 2x cubed. Do we have any other x cubes? Yes, we do. Here's an x cubed. Here's an x cubed. So that will give us negative 4x cubed. Okay, x squareds. Any x squareds out there? Here's an x squared. Here's an x squared. So that will give us 8x squared. Doop. Any other x's? Yes, we just have a 4x. There's no other x's. And then we just have our negative 8. That one is quite a messy problem. And that's that. Okay, our final problem, finding the area of the triangle. To find the area, remember area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. We have a base, but we don't have the height. The height has to be, whoa, I have issues with this thing. The height has to be a perpendicular distance. So from here to here, it has to form a right angle. That's all the better I can get it. So it'd be forming a right angle right here. To find that, because this is an isosceles triangle, this bisects the other side. It only works for isosceles and equilateral triangles. So that means that this little part here is 3, this little part here is 3, and now we have a right triangle. We can use the Pythagorean theorem. These are the legs, this is the hypotenuse. So leg squared plus, we'll call this leg h because it's the height, this height. H squared equals 4 squared. 9 plus h squared equals 16. H squared equals 7. And then we have to take the square root of both sides, so we get h equals the square root of 7. A lot of you got that far, and then you got stuck. So it's 1/2 base times height. So area of the triangle equals 1/2. Now the base is the entire triangle because we want the area of the entire triangle. So our base would be 6. Our height is, oddly enough, the square root of 7. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So the area of our triangle is 3 square root of 7 feet. Don't forget your units or you miss a point. So they are the answers to quiz number 3.